Once upon a year, I was at a gun store listening to a pistol transaction going on right next to me as I was browsing the counter. Now, no one there knew about me being nut and fancy, and that's always the way I prefer it. I prefer to be anonymous, no one recognizing me. I've always said that. It makes me happier. I don't get off on fame or any of that crap. And so I just sat there, not saying a word, listening to what was going on, and the clerk was selling a wife, the husband was there too, but selling the wife a carry pistol, and he directed her towards some very tiny 1911 style of pistols, specifically the P938. Now, if you watch my P938 review posted in July of 2013, I talk about this exact type of philosophy of use as a carry pistol for a lady. And I emphasize the difficulty of one, a 1911 battery of arms for an unfamiliar shooter. A lot of people are not comfortable carrying it in condition one, cocked and locked. Having to remember to sweep off a safety if they're a new shooter may be a problem under stress. And then also the difficulty in just hitting what you're shooting at. Now the P938, which I will make mention of in this tabletop review several times as a comparison against this, the Micro 9, is a great gun. It's extraordinarily accurate. However, it takes a certain skill set to get that accuracy out of it. Same goes for this one. It ain't easy to shoot. I mean, they're small. Sometimes it can twist in your hand, especially with plus P loads. It's difficult to shoot well. All small pistols are. I mean, you can't get away from physics. I said that in a lot of tabletop reviews. So he was steering her towards this gun, and I didn't want to say anything. I definitely did not identify myself, nut and fancy or anything like that. But I did say, when the salesman walked away for a sec, I did say, hey, you might want to look at, maybe a Glock. At the time, I think it was before the 43 had come out. I talked about a Glock 26. Some other smaller 9mm carry pistols, polymer like the LC9, and they're appreciative, and they did look at them. I don't know if they ended up buying, but I bring that up because here we see again another super subcompact, lightweight, 17 ounces, slim carry pistol. I just want to make sure that people know it's not easy to shoot, it's easy to carry. Pick one of the two. It often goes with a lot of different guns. There are some that break the mold. I think, speaking of LC9, here's an LC9S, easy to carry and I think relatively easy to shoot, and it's definitely a valid competitor against the Micro 9 and any number of other subcompact carry pistols. We'll talk about the Micro 9 here in tabletop form. Oh, and by the way, you may see nowadays in my videos that are posting from probably like February of 2017 onward, polling. Please participate. Those polls will pop up and they help direct the gun show and actually the entire content flow and how I do things in TMP. Because it's you guys who actually come out and watch the videos that I care about hearing from. And one of the things you're telling me is I'm doing what's called enhanced lightweight gun review. So it's light on details, lighter than it's ever been. We won't talk too much about POU. In fact, I'm pretty much done with this gun on that. We'll just talk about, hey, features, how did it shoot, and would I buy it? And here's the polling results from a video where I asked guys, hey, do you like the new format? I think if the stats haven't changed, that the answer is overwhelmingly yes. So what you're going to get is a more concise, shorter video. I can hear the groans out there from some TMPers. Hey, we love the feature-length videos. Well, I love you, brother. Thank you. But if I look at Google Analytics, only about 20%, 25%, if that, will watch the video to the end. And here I put in all this work for a 50-minute feature length to include multiple outings in the desert with insert footage. We're going to pare it down and get to the crux of the issue. Enhanced lightweight. And this review will be just like that. This, by the way, is, I believe, the Micro 9 two-tone. And in this advertisement, which I ripped out of a magazine, we have a representation of the, well, that's a Micro 9 here, but it's also a takeoff on the regular Micro, which is a 380 pistol. And I guess this tabletop review could serve for that one too, because they're identical guns in a lot of ways, different chamberings, little size differences, little a couple things you had to do to this pistol to strengthen it to take the 9mm cartridge, but I'm going to consider it basically the same gun, pretty much. I am an advocate of 9mm being the smallest primary caliber that I would carry. In other words, if I'm going back up on my officer ankle holster, then absolutely go with a P938. Go with maybe the LCP2 by Ruger as a backup gun. But as a primary carry gun, I'm going 9mm. Often these days for me bigger. 40, 45 ACP, 10mm sometimes. It just depends. Again, two-tone version here. They have it in some various colorations and really cool finishes. I think in a lot of ways taking a page from the Sig P938, which is a superb gun, very high on my likability scale. It's been referenced many times. Tactical Doodle has ours in a carry system right now, so I don't have it on tabletop. However, I have plenty of shooting footage and plenty of shooting experience with the 938, and I'll show you some of that. And the 938 by Sig was made in a bunch of different colorations. I think it's a relatively cost-effective way for a company to make the gun attractive to a wide variety of buyers who are looking for individualism in their carry choice. And Kimber has done the same thing. So you have this two-tone version, a pure stainless steel one, a crimson trace version, one or two of those, CDP version, a Raptor, which is probably my favorite version because of the wood grips that are on there, and they have some milling on the slide, which is pretty trick. Then you have the Woodland Night, the Desert Night, and some special editions, probably more if it's successful. So different colorations. They're all essentially the same pistol. It's just, as you can figure out, different colors. Now, for just cool tactical looks, I really like the Desert Night, of course. I like the Woodland Night. It's cool. Would it be my first choice? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. Carry pistol, primary. Yep, 9mm concealed carry. Whoops, I went back to POU super quick. Remember, 1911 battery of arms. Are you good with that? I've talked about that lots. I'm super comfortable with it, but I've shot 1911s for a long time. A new shooter, maybe not. And then when the safety comes off, we have that light trigger pull, which you know, is just something to be considerate of, right? I don't think here it's that light. I mean, I measure this one at 5 pounds. Let's pull it just for the heck of it. See what we got on the Lyman digital scale. I pulled it tonight and it was right at 5. No grip safety, which I like. Awesome. Really short reset. So that one's 412, which, by the way, is better than the P938. This gun actually does a couple things better, I think, than the Sig, and trigger is one of them. I actually like the trigger. 1911 style reset, like we said. Right here. That's a big selling point to a lot of people who love 1911s. This is just a really consistent, awesome trigger, and I would say the Micro definitely has that. Weight-wise, this compares very favorably against the Sig. It's basically the same weight. 17.2 ounces versus the P938 at 17.6. That's relatively lightweight. You load it up, it's going to be more. Now, I say relatively because there's other ones that beat it. I've talked about them. I think the PF9 still setting standards in at least SAWC for now. Features review, super quick. So this version has smooth, beautiful wood grip panels. I mean, it's a good looking gun. I really like the two-tone. Awesome. Very standard 1911 magazine release. This version, and I don't know if they're going to change this, the Micro 9 as a whole, and probably the Micro, not a great ambi gun. It's set up for right-handers. So you don't have an ambi safety. You don't have an ambi slide release. You don't have, I don't think you can swap these over. No, it's just a single side magazine release. Is that a big deal to you? Well, ask Jardine, you know, or some other lefties, probably. The 938 I know has an ambi safety on it. I forget the slide release. It might be ambi as well, without adding too much thickness to it. Just something to think about. But as far as the execution, the quality, it's pretty awesome. Standard 1911 trigger. Small trigger guard, as you would expect for this to be kind of a scaled down full-size 1911. It's actually a cute gun. I mean, look at it. I put it in my palm. That was a small 9mm What else do I have here for comparison? I know I brought some other stuff. Here comes a Glock 26 by comparison. It's coming out of a carry system, so it's hot. So, I mean, look at that. That is much smaller, much thinner than a G26. I've become more, I don't know, accepting of bigger guns lately, which might surprise some dudes, because I am big on weight. I'm big on a thin carry piece. I don't know what's happening. Oh yeah, I do. I found some holsters I really like that do it well, like the Galco Jackass rig. That's what's happened, and they carry so well. I'm like, I experimented with it. And I was like, you know, I can carry this P226 all day long in a Galco Jackass rig. I have a separate video out on that. Oh yeah, features review on this. I love how the safety is super positive on the Kimber Micro 9. Snicks off and on with precision. Some shooters, when we jump ahead, how does it shoot, are complaining that they are accidentally actuating it with their grip. I don't remember that happening to me, and I do have large size hands, but it is something that bears mentioning. Anytime you get a gun with this small of a presentation where everything's going to be kind of crowded up, it is kind of a disadvantage to have a very critical control be accidentally manipulated on. That is probably my biggest beef against 1911s as a whole, is that oftentimes, even with a full size myself, I'll flip on the safety and I don't mean to. Slide stop works perfectly, and it's milled right. There's going to be some mimmed parts here. I don't really care about mimmed. I mean, forge is cool, second cool, but mim is so proven. Enough said. Look at the top. So there's really no matte finishing for here, for reduction of glare, I guess you should say. Do you need it on this carry pistol? Probably not. It's mostly kind of a second cool thing here. This is going to be a contact distance pistol, if we're honest with each other. Great sights. I love the sights on these. You can get tritium on the Micro 9. 3-block variety. They're very, very similar to the P938 sights. I have no doubt in my mind that when Kimber put this together, they had a Sig P938 on the table going, okay, what did they get right? And in my manner of thinking, pretty much everything on the 938, except the trigger. This trigger is much better, like I was saying. Magazine. 6 rounds, so you got 6+1 without an extended magazine. Didn't really look if they have anything more. But when you go with a super subcompact carry piece, do you want to have the magazine sticking out? No. But check this out, and this is a downside. A little bit of funneling we have here on the bottom of the Micro 9, but this is what I don't like. And we did find this in shooting. So we'd come in, we'd slam the magazine home, and we were thinking, and it may have attached that time. Let's see, it did. But sometimes I think it didn't slam home because it's recessed. This is my point here. See how that's recessed? Dudes, come on. That is unacceptable. Hey, I get you want to make it a tight carry package and you want to really reduce its overall height, but you need to have this magazine base plate at least flush with the grip. At least. That way, when we do a reload, we slap it in and we can be guaranteed it seats. You may not be guaranteed with it recessed into the magazine well. That's my point. So that's a big miss. I hate that. Now, I looked in the box that it came with and I was like, well, maybe it has like, you know, a rubber magazine butt pad on it, or bumper pad. Nope. In fact, it only comes with one magazine. So that's not great. Bad job, Kimber. Low value. It gets a big ding for low value. One magazine? Come on. For a pistol of this cost, any pistol that I bring to the table that comes with one magazine is going to get a hit for that. And it deserves it. Checkered back strap here with the insert. And on the Raptor model, it has 30 DPI front strap checkering. This one doesn't. That's another reason why I would like the Raptor one a little bit better. A cool thing I like about, and this, the P938 is the same way, is you can have the safety on as long as the hammer's back. If the hammer's lowered and the safety's on, you won't be able to rack the slide. But as soon as you cock the hammer, let's say I'm in condition 1, you can actually rack the slide with the safety on. That's cool. No magazine disconnect at all. Of course, that's usually standard for these subcompact, you know, type of mini 1911s, of which Colt started way back when. Serrations, I think, are good. I love the looks of the entire gun, actually, for sure. The black and the silver again is very good looking. Not going to take it down. Got an extended beaver tail here. I experienced 0 slide bite with this, if I can remember right. Now, no grip safety, of course. Go with that. One thing that they did right on the Kimber Micro series is they've melted the edges. I mean, this one's kind of a sharp edge here on the front of the slide, but overall it's a melted presentation, so it's a nice carry package. I think they did a better job doing it than the P938 did. Pretty good. One thing I kind of have mixed feelings about is they don't have an external extractor like the P938 does. I really love that about the Sig. This is an internal extractor. It was reliable extracting. I will say that. You know something's coming, right? Which will take us to how did it shoot. How do I say this? It shot really good, actually. As far as the dynamics of it shooting, I didn't mind the Micro 9. I think most of the crew, we liked it. It did shoot high right, which is not cool. I think the sights should be regulated better than they were. Got some other guns here you'll see later. Let me show you the target here. We'll talk about accuracy super quick. So I had a variety of loads shooting with the Kimber Micro. Here's just Blazer, Remington 115 grain jacket, a hollow point. This is pretty good. I mean, this is standing, I think, in an indoor range. I'll have footage of that, I believe. So I had no wind to contend with. White box, Federal. Golden Saber, 120 grain plus P, good. Federal, good. These are all good groups. A little bit high right. And you can see I made some notes to myself. Make sure the mag is seated. One failure to go in the battery. We'll talk about that. Blazer, Fiocchi, 115 plus P. Fiocchi shoots so good. Gosh, it's good. Blazer brass. So the gun is very accurate. And it did bug me that the sights aren't regulated, but you know, can you fix that? Maybe. How about reliability? And this is what I was alluding to. We did have several failures to go into battery. In fact, it became kind of the theme for shooting the Kimber Micro 9 that pop, 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 failed to go into battery. So footage, if you haven't already seen it, you probably have. Out in the desert, for instance, is when it really happened. Curse of the desert. You know, we were just I was just, you know, it became so common. I just shoot, slam it. Now we've seen that with a number of guns. Ruger comes to mind. And basically what it will entail is you sending the gun back and it will get fixed. I have no doubt in my mind that Kimber could fix it, and they would do what they do. You know, do some polishing, look at the slide rails and see if there's anything hanging up, maybe look at the recoil spring, do some test shooting, and then when it comes back to you, I would think that it would be fixed. But we go into that same irritation of why do we have to do this with a relatively expensive gun. I mean, right, this one's selling for around $570 or so. You might get it for less, a little bit more. Depends on which version of the Micro 9 you get. It should be good out of box. Apparently, Kimber tests all their guns, but you know, TMP revealed this one ain't up to par. I wouldn't carry it the way it is. There's no way. And by the way, that was with a variety of loads. I mean, you saw the ones on the target, hollow points, FMJs. I did shoot some steel case, and it was reliable with those, which is amazing. Some Wolf. I mean, that's good. I mean, I'm going to give it credit where credit's due. But then we switch back to brass, and here we go with some failures to go in the battery. I don't remember any FTEs, failure to ejects, anything like that, or I don't see any stovepipes. So if we're going to have any failure with our pistol, maybe failure to go into battery might be the best one to have, because I think that is relatively easy to cure at the factory. Now, I read some other online reviews. A lot of people are saying they're getting like, well, I think it was American Rifleman, for instance. I think they're getting 4 inches at 25 yards, which for a little tiny pistol like this with a little tiny sight radius and big blocky sights, that's pretty good. I think the pistol is accurate. I think the barrel quality is well. I think the lockup is tight. Let's check the slide fit. No movement at all. I actually like that. Now we get to the end of the video. Would I buy it? The question is, and it's an interesting question, is would I go with something like, you know, you saw it already, the LC9S, and do I have my 43 here? I don't know what I brought with me. I'll just throw a Glock 26 on the table. Not that the Glock 26 is really a competitor, because this is a bigger, chunkier gun than this. I would think the buyers of the Micro 9 really want something small. Maybe it's a backup piece. Maybe it's something where, hey, I mean, I'm in a hot weather location. I can't have anything print where the G26 would print. So I don't know if it's a great one. But heck, how many have I thrown on the table before? Glock 43, Springfield XDS, Walther PPS, Smith & Wesson Shield, still awesome. Kel-Tec PF9 versus this. And more importantly, I think the Sig P938. Which one would I buy just between those two? So if it's a Kimber versus a Sig, the Sig, that's where I'd go. Here's why. The Sig, even though it has some minor downsides, sharper edges, it's kind of a blocky mini 1911, and it has a stiffer trigger. Dang, did that thing shoot good. We had no problems with it whatsoever, whatever ammunitions we tried, and it was extraordinarily accurate. I would get the Sig. It is, I believe, a little bit more money, maybe where you're buying it from, and the version you're getting a lot more money. But to me, the Sig is I wouldn't say superior, but a better pistol. Now, you send this back and get it fixed, then we're kind of getting to the realm of, okay, this recessed magazine is still a problem. I don't like it. I think it's kind of a showstopper the way it is. Can you fix that? Yeah. I mean, I could fix it. I could just cut out some polymer, and I could just epoxy it on there. I would sand this base plate, make it rough, cut out precisely some polymer of just the right thickness where it's just barely extending past the grip. Problem solved. You know, or if I really want to fix it, then I would take this base plate off, drill and tap it, and put mini machine screws, gunsmithing screws in there so that base plate is really on there. Totally doable. But again, we're dealing with a new gun with some awesome competition. Why would you have to dick around with it? That's my point. The competition for concealed carry pistols is extreme. It's good for us. In the end, I'll say the Micro 9 is actually a pretty excellent pistol. You might have a version that's going to need some tuning up by the factory, and that's wrong. Kimber should pay for shipping back and shipping back to you. It's a hassle. That's going to go common carrier. I hate shipping pistols back. I'm to the point now I don't even want to do it. Like this, I didn't hey, and this is a loaner from Gunnies, but I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to ship this back, you know, for the review. Go out and shoot it again and see if it flies right. No, I don't do that anymore. Not in an enhanced lightweight review. No. It is accurate though. I found it actually pleasurable to shoot. But again, sight regulation, failures to go into battery, recessed magazine, and that's about it. The rest is pretty good. We're done. See you later.
Yeah.
It's hard when you only got one mag.
It's bullshit is what it is.
It is. Oh. Stoppage, FMJs.
Grab that last stray round.
The things you learn. This gun rocks, doesn't it?
Oh, it's so cool.
Nice hit.
It shoots well.
When it does.
It just dances around in your hand, at least mine.
Sig 938 or the Kimber?
938.
Amen.
Yeah.